January 6, 2025, year of our Lord. Welcome. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're going to watch this video. I hope everyone is exercising their rights today.
Using free speech to free minds.
I always say rights are like muscles, and if you don't exercise them, you will lose them. Today we have a lot of stories to go over, from Trump's election being certified to bye-bye Justin Trudeau, Buncombe County, North Carolina really shocks the people, and MSNBC hates veterans. So sit back, crack one open. Please tap that subscribe button, like, comment, share. Those little things help. You want to show that you support me? Go do that. I appreciate it. Look, we'll go from there. So the election of 24 is now in the history books. Trump and Vance were certified today. It was funny watching Harris have to certify that election. Trump is going to be sworn in as the second non-consecutive president in history. Just to kind of educate people a little bit, it was Grover Cleveland that was the first non-consecutive president. Grover Cleveland was the 22nd and 24th U.S. president. And honestly, both Grover Cleveland and Donald Trump couldn't be further different from each other. Grover Cleveland, when he was president, he was actually a Democrat. And there was a disaster in Texas with the farmers. And Congress tried to appropriate money for the farmers. And Grover Cleveland said, I read the Constitution. There is nothing in the Constitution that says we should give welfare to the farmers. Here you have President Trump, who brags about giving welfare to the farmers. So, we have two separate, completely different presidents. But I am really blown away by Trump's tenacity. I really hope he follows through with draining the swamp. The best tax he could cut is not our nominal taxes, but rather the tax on inflation, right? If he does that, he will go down as one of the greatest presidents of our lifetime, okay? The last president that was able to bring down inflation was Ronald Reagan. But Reagan was with Paul Volcker of the Federal Reserve and allowed rates to go all the way up to 21, 22, 23% in order to slay the inflation dragon. Will Trump allow that to happen? We'll have to see. But today, it was a pretty unique day. I can remember where I was 4 years ago, last January. January 6th is usually not that big of a day. It kind of usually goes by and you don't really think of it. But after what happened last time, now it's like I see people celebrating January 6th as if that was some great momentum thing that happened that day. I kind of wonder what people's opinions are about that. Now that we are, hey Amy, how you doing? Hey Julie. Now that we're a year past, 4 years past, sorry, from the last January 6th, does Trump pardon the January 6th defendants? We'll see. We'll see how that all works. But I am hopeful that Trump will do a good job. He's got to do better than Biden, right? I mean, really Harris had no chance. I mean, Biden literally did everything possible to help Harris lose. So, hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you. God bless you. God bless your family. So that was pretty interesting. Also, we have to say bye-bye to Justin Trudeau. Here he is announcing his resignation. Elitist, neoliberal, COVIDian. This guy was a COVID monster. Remember what he did to the truckers? Remember what he did to the small mom and pops? He destroyed these people, destroyed their livelihoods. Went around disarming people, going in, having the sheriffs, Trudeau had sheriffs going in churches and shutting them down. This guy was disgusting. I know a lot of my fellow conservatives are happy that Justin Trudeau is gone. But true justice would have been if he would have been gone in handcuffs, right? Somebody should have arrested that guy, right? I'm sorry, but the people of Canada, they have human dignity as well. They have a constitution, okay? They have rights in Canada. They have allowed this soy boy, because he's totally soy, right? To take over the country, to allow this guy who's probably couldn't even fight himself out of a white paper bag and totally destroyed their country, bringing in all of those socialist policies, really authoritarian stuff. And so I'm cautious about being happy about Trudeau being gone, because Canada has a funny way of putting worse people in. So, bye-bye, Justin Trudeau, but let's see who the next person is, because if he's anything like Justin Trudeau, forget about it. I mean, that country, it'll be third world in no time. And it's a shame. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Canada. It's a beautiful country. I've been there a couple times in the summertime. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a shame that those people vote in to have themselves handcuffed. I don't even understand why Americans allow themselves to be handcuffed. But why do people vote in these people? I just don't get it. Are Canada's elections rigged too? I was angry back then, but now I look back and say it was people wanting to show we are not allowing. Oh, okay, yeah, I think you're talking about January 6th. Look, look, here's the thing. I really hope that the Trump administration cuts government, right? Cutting government spending literally is the linchpin to draining the swamp, right? It expands our personal freedoms, our economic freedoms, okay, Amy? And so, I think some of the people on January 6th, 4 years ago, they were misguided. I think some people made some terrible mistakes. I think other people got swept up, right? They shouldn't have been in trouble, right? So I think it's a case-by-case basis. I think Trump better play it smart, right? And do what's right for the country, right, versus politically. And the right thing to do right now is to cut government spending, restore our freedoms. That's right, Mike. Less government is more freedom. And just to show you how mean and insensitive government can be, okay? Check out this story. Buncombe County, North Carolina, has officially confirmed this afternoon that the county tax assessor will not be waiving or reducing property taxes for homes that no longer exist due to Hurricane Helene. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. So here we are Buncombe County, North Carolina, those crooks at the property tax assessor's office, you know, your home got swept away, right? Don't you think it would be valued at a different price, right? Don't you think they'd say, hey, let's give these people some relief? No. These crooks are going to tax these people full value, regardless if the home is there or not. What is going on in this country? This is North Carolina. This isn't, you know, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. You know, this isn't California, you know? This just goes to show how tyrannical local leaders can be. I made a post a couple of weeks ago pointing this out, that sometimes your local county officials can be worse than the statehood, than the governorship, or than even the federal government. I mean, imagine that. Here you are, living your life through no fault of your own. You know, I know Buncombe County. I'm within an hour's drive of there, okay? It's a beautiful piece of property up there. It's all mountains and rivers and just absolutely gorgeous. God's country, as they would say. This is not a place that gets storms, right? This is not your typical place that, you know, floods out, or this was a freak storm that came through. And these people lost everything. And how does the county of Buncombe treat those people, right? They're going to tax them at full face value, right? I mean, these are people, and let me just kind of give you some back baseball on this. FEMA, right? They have trailers, okay? When it was New Orleans, and not to make it a race issue, but when it was a lot of black people in New Orleans who needed trailers, right? They got the trailers down there, right? Because they were afraid of riots. But Buncombe County, right, where there's a more proud type of people, right, that don't really want the assistance, these people are living in freaking tents, okay? Just to kind of let you know the climate, it snows up there, okay, because they're at higher elevation, okay? There were children living in tents right now in America, right now, through no fault of their own. Now look, anybody knows me as a libertarian, I am not for government bailing people out, right? I believe if you gamble, you lose, it's on you. However, it's when government provides services, right? Like FEMA, and then FEMA picks and chooses what people they're going to help. Like, for instance, how they spent money on illegals. FEMA blew billions of dollars on illegals. Yeah, that's right, Amy. They only care about the money. You know, you would think Buncombe County officials would cut their government, you know, their local government, right? Because they've been decimated, you know, to help make up revenue, right? You cut government, right? You get rid of the county employees that you don't need, right? You got to tighten your belt, right? When things happen, right? But no, Buncombe County wants to stay nice and fat, right? I bet you those county officials, the city council, the mayor, I bet you they're nice and fat and warm, right? They're not sleeping under a tree tonight in a tent, right? With their children. It's unbelievable how these people have been left behind, and now they're being punished on top of it. So I just find that absolutely disgusting. And look, we're going to go from one disgusting story straight into another one. So does everybody know who MSNBC Lawrence O'Donnell is? Probably not. So this loser on MSNBC, he's on late at night, And he got known for, one time I think MSNBC was doing construction or something, and he started cursing on air, like freaking out, like stop the hammer, and like because he was so important, more important than the guys doing the construction. But so Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC, he was talking about the attacks that happened in Vegas and in New Orleans, okay? And he came right out and said, it's not the illegals that are the problem. Oh no, it's not the illegals, it's veterans. And he's advocating right now for all veterans to be followed, doxxed, okay? This guy is completely insane. Look, I am all for free speech, right? I'm glad he's able to let everybody know what an idiot he is, right? So we can call him out, right? This guy wants to replace Americans with illegals. That's their plan. Look, he's not part of the Democrat wing that just got their asses handed to them, right? They don't listen to the voter. They just, they refuse to listen to the voter. The voter spoke. They're sick and tired of the border, right? They're sick and tired of illegals driving drunk into people, raping people, murdering people, burning them alive on the subway, pushing them in front of trains. I mean, look, we've crossed the Rubicon, right? When it comes to illegals, okay? I mean, when Trump came down the escalator, God, it's got almost 9 years ago. And he brought up illegal immigration. And I think back how important it was back then. Okay, if you thought it was important back then, it is 50 times more now, right? And Trump literally was a decade ahead on the border issue. And so I hope that Trump can take back some of the money, instead of going to Ukraine and these other places overseas. Take that money, take the money from the Pentagon, right? Take 10% from them, put it straight into the border, okay? Take that money, he's allowed, he's the president, he says where military can go. Stick the Coast Guard, whatever we need down there, okay? Land, air, sea, right? Whatever it takes, right? He should immediately get on that border. Let's shut that down. Let's shut down people like Lawrence O'Donnell, who says veterans should be followed and, basically spied on. Does this guy not remember 9/11? I mean, did he miss 9/11? I mean, to say that veterans cause the most amount of terrorist acts, this guy is completely insane. And then the best is, he uses the Timothy McVeigh example, right? Which, if anybody studied that, knows that was the FBI. The FBI, the CIA, they are the ones. Look, this is why I can't stand people like Sean Hannity. I cannot stand these guys. Because they get on TV and they say, oh, it's just the top. It's just the top. No, it ain't the top. All those people throughout the line. Think about it. If you're willing, let's say I'm your general and I'm your captain, and I give you unlawful orders to steal somebody else's constitutional rights, okay? You guys should mutiny me and throw me the F out, okay? You guys should be calling me out, going down to Congress, and doing whatever you got to do to throw me out. But that's not what's happening at the FBI. That's not what happens at the CIA, the DEA, all of these freaking ridiculous agencies, right? That are stealing our constitutional rights through fiat. And so, this is absolutely ridiculous. What is going on within these departments. And so, no, it is not just the top. It is metastasized throughout it. And I like some of the people that Trump has on his team. I forget the gentleman's name that's going into the FBI. But he basically wants to rip them apart and just rip them apart, you know. And he should, right? Because it's not just the top. They all went to the same tyrannical colleges. They all have that leftist lean to them, you know, where they hate Western civilization. They hate conservatives. They really hate Republicans, you know. And if they hate you, guess how much they hate me as a libertarian, you know. Forget about me, you know. They don't like people who preach freedom and the Constitution and free markets and, you know, leaving people alone to live their life. Let's see, what did Mike say? No money to foreign countries or illegals. Build the wall. Yes. Look, there's a meme that went around, and it basically was missiles being launched over here and missiles being launched over here. And it's like, these are our tax dollars, Mike. And these are also our tax dollars somehow. You know, because, again, the Pentagon is not audited. They just thumb their nose at us. You know, they don't respect Congress. They don't respect the presidency, regardless what party is in, okay? And they're basically laundering money. They're basically buying both sides of every war, okay? And we're paying for this, you know? And that's why I call up people like Lindsey Graham, who was on Fox News about 6 weeks ago, saying how great Ukraine funding is and how it helps our military-industrial complex and all this nonsense. See, that's a guy that needs to be primary. That's not a Republican. That is that's a soy Democrat, right? He's hiding as a Republican, right? But he's really a Democrat, right? We need to kick him off the team. Can Republicans, you know, put something in there, you know, hey, to be a Republican, right, you have to do certain things, right? Isn't there like, I don't even know how to, it's almost like Republicans have their own DEI hires, right? Where we allow people like a Lindsey Graham to get in, right? That are really big liberal Democrats hiding as Republicans within the party. We need wall in California as well. I remember years ago seeing Mexicans trying to panhandle way through San Diego at border. Yeah, I mean, Amy, you know, this is where Trump needs to use the military, because you know the governor of California, he's going to do everything he can to block Trump. So is the governor of New Mexico, right? They love open borders. They absolutely love this stuff. You know, it keeps, you know, all of their welfare programs fat and healthy, right? It gives them new voters, right? This is the plan, right? They want to push us out, like Lauren O'Donnell is basically saying out in the open. Because, again, these people hate us, right? And so that's why Trump he really needs to use the military this time. He needs to use his pen in such a way this time that it gets the point across that, but he can't leave border walls sitting on the ground this time. Let's put it that way. It's got to get built. So, because you know what happens. If a Democrat gets in next time, they're just going to leave whatever's open. So yeah, the California governor, he's a traitor to the Constitution, okay? You know, look, there were good people who tried to overthrow, you know, through, you know, legal, lawful ways, primaried him, to get rid of him, Newsom. And, it was Larry Elder. And if you look up Larry Elder, he's somebody that I used to follow. He's a libertarian, staunch Republican, libertarian type. He also believes in the Constitution, free markets, sound money. And he ran against Newsom. He got very close to throwing Newsom out. And had Larry Elder got a fair shot by the media, Newsom would be gone. But again, the media protected Newsom, and shame on the right-leaning media. They should have been promoting Elder more, right? But they didn't promote him nearly as much as they should have. If I ever get Elder, I hope I can get somebody like that on, because he has so much information he could be sharing with people. If you meet him, he's a black gentleman. His backstory is just incredible. Look him up. The guy is just incredible. Just a great American. Let me see here. Yeah, Mike, look, we got to keep American money in America. Look, there's nothing in the Constitution that allows Congress to take our tax money and send it overseas, right? So every dollar that they're sending overseas is illegal, okay? And regardless of party, it's illegal. There's nothing in the Constitution that allows that. There's also nothing in the Constitution that allows the government, the federal government, to tax you directly. That's why this country was founded with tariffs, right? We had stamp taxes, we had a whiskey tax, right? But they never had an income tax until the Civil War, okay? And then it was there briefly to pay for the Civil War, right? And it was the very, very elite that paid it until World War I happened, and then that was the end of it. And then they just started taxing everybody, right? And so, yeah, we got to get rid of the income tax. We got to get rid of the corporate tax. These taxes only make the government stronger, right? I don't want to give the federal government more money. I want to give them less money, right? And so that's what I'm hoping for. Let's see. Just like you said the other day. Yes, that's right, Julie. Look, if it's not in the Constitution, we shouldn't do it, right? That's what we should be living by. And so let's hope that President Trump is successful on the border and this sort of stuff. So, another story. Story number 5. Rhode Island bans vape shops and puts 10-year-old plus businesses out of business. Now, this has been pretty contentious with a lot of people. Now, I understand, look, I'm not a smoker. I had 34 years of having a real breathing issue. Thank the Lord, last year I had a bunch of surgeries, and I got my breathing fixed. So I'm not a smoker. But just because I don't smoke, don't mean I want to infringe on other people from not smoking, right? If you want to smoke a vape, that's your business, right? But here's where government destroys opportunities, right? So there was a woman, she had a shop for over 10 years, selling vapes and whatever other little pipes or whatever things that she had in there. And because people in the Rhode Island assembly, are offended, I guess, or whatever by vapes, they just ban it, right? Where is this in the Constitution that gives these creeps the strength and power to just say, no, we're gonna destroy 10 years of your business? Thank you, Amy. I thank God. I wanted to do this, what I'm doing now, for years, but I couldn't because of my breathing. My breathing was so bad you could hear me breathing like from across the street, okay? And but, you know, I'll get into it a little bit. So I was seeing a doctor, okay, for something completely unrelated. And as I was breathing in this office, it just so happened that an anesthesiologist had walked by the room, and he listened. He goes, "Whoa!" And he comes in the room. He goes, "Hey," knocks on the door, and I was waiting for a doctor to come. And he says, "Do you have a trach?" I says, "No." He says, "Why are you breathing like that? What's wrong? Is this how you normally breathe?" I says, "Yes." So he says, he goes, "Listen, if I can get you right now to this other doctor, would you go?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I think I have somebody that can help you." And I says, "Well, look, 34 years with this, you know." I said, "Look, I'll see whoever you got, okay?" But my hope was pretty low because I've seen people in New York, Jersey, all over the place, and nobody was able to help me. Well, I drive across town, and the doctor's name is Dr. Eller, and he's the lead ENT surgeon for Greenville County. And he's listening to me. He puts me right through. Okay, now there are people there, you know, laid out in beds and wheelchairs, but I sound worse than any of them. So he puts me right through, Dr. Eller. And he goes, "Hey, let me scope you." So he scopes me. And he goes, "Okay, a little bit of damage, a little bit of damage." And he goes like this, "Whoa!" Now he's got me freaked out. I'm sweating because I'm like, that doesn't sound good. He goes, "Good news, bad news." I go, "Okay." And he's pulling it out and he goes, "You need surgery." He goes, "But I can help you. It's going to be a long process. But if you do what I say, I'm going to help you." Well, as anybody knows, I know, Amy, you're a nurse, working on your windpipe. You know, you only got one windpipe, and it's tiny, and it takes little lasers and tools to get in there, right? It's scary. So I'm not going to lie. I was the most scared of my life. And he says, "Well, I'm going to measure your throat. I have to see how closed you are." So far, it turns out, not only was my dog in Guinness, but I might even get into Guinness as somebody who had the thinnest windpipe. I was 97% closed, okay? On my day one of surgery, my first surgery. Today, I am 99% open, right? I mean, miracles. And it took 4 surgeries. Normally, he'll do 1 surgery on somebody. The average person, he might do 7 or 10% closed, right? And, you know, thank God for today's technology that he can get in here with lasers and stuff. But, so anyway, so I'm not a smoker. I like to take care of myself. Even with having those breathing issues, I jogged every day, walked every day, played sports. I'm very active. I go to the gym, this sort of thing. So, you know, I'm not a vapor, right? I'm not somebody who smokes. But that doesn't mean that I want to infringe on the rights of others who want to vape. Now, I will say, I don't like people who smoke and blow it in somebody else's face, right? Look, as Americans, we should respect other people's spaces, right? I don't want your dirty breath all over me, right? But if you want to smoke all over yourself, that's fine, right? But these should be individual choices made by individual adults, right? We're adults. We're not children, right? It's not like we're telling a 12-year-old, "Hey, don't vape," right? "Don't smoke," right? We're talking about adults, right? So, from a conservative, from a libertarian perspective, right? We should allow people to exercise their freedoms as long as they are not infringing on other people's rights, okay, to live freely as they wish, right? So, again, Rhode Island, you know, again, these tyrannical places. Now, again, you know, if you kill 50, 100 jobs here, 50, 100 jobs there, you know, it adds up, right? And this is what, you know, I had that list of all the things that we don't make anymore. And that's why, you know, that's why we don't make shoes in this country anymore, or consumer electronics, or luxury bags, right? Because we have tyrannical animals in office like what's in Rhode Island, right? And so this is an example of, you know, standing up for other people's freedoms, even if I don't agree with them, right? I would tell somebody, hey, like my daughters, one of them, I believe, vapes. I don't want her to vape. I love her. I want her to live a long time, right? I can explain to her what vaping can do, but I don't want the government to tell her, right? I want her, under her own will, to say, you know what? I don't want to vape anymore, right? Just like if you're a drinker, right? I want you to quit drinking, right? I'm not an alcoholic, right? If you're an alcoholic or a drinker, right? We want you to be sober, right? But I don't want prohibition, right? So that's kind of where I am on that stuff. Also, another story that came out, the Democrats, choices, but respect others when smoking, should each person's own choice. That's right, Amy. That's right, Mike. It's government overreach. You know, why can't we get people in office that respect other people's, the way that they choose to live? Just leave people alone, right? Just as long as they are lawful, right? They're lawful, leave them alone, right? So this story is the best. Now, if you're from New York, I know, Mike, you're in New York. Amy, right? Jersey, New York, right? Democrats roll out congestion pricing. You know, they just can't get enough of punching the worker in the face. You know, they come up with these ridiculous plans that just, you know, they just got to hammer people. They're like, yeah, I didn't get you enough. Let me hit you again and hit you again. And you know what? If you get up, I'm going to hit you again. You know, as if New York doesn't collect enough tax, right? They got to punish you for crossing a freaking bridge. So I have the numbers. So the Lincoln Tunnel, okay? Built, 80 years ago or whatever. Very old tunnel, you know. This isn't like, you know, they just put this in. $27.31 now to cross that. One time, $27. I mean, who can pay that? You know? You need a second job just to travel into the city, right? And we all know when I say into the city, if you're from the tri-state, that's Manhattan, right? So they're punishing you. So let's say you have a girl, right? You have a boyfriend, right? You have a husband, whatever, wife, right? You go, hey, I want to take you out to a dinner and a show on Broadway, right? So you don't only have the cost of whatever mode of transportation it takes you to get there, right? Now you're going to get banged taking the Lincoln Tunnel by another $27.31, okay? Plus the cost of whatever tickets, whatever food, right? All of this gets priced in, right? Now what happens? People say, hey, I'm not going to go into the city anymore. You know, most of New York City are not Wall Street. Everybody thinks, when you think of the city, you think of big corporations, but it's not. There are tons of little mom and pops that, you know, they bust their ass to the bone to try and make it there, right? I mean, you got to almost sell your soul to make it in Manhattan, right? And they're just hammering these people, right? It's already bad enough what they did during COVID, right? Then with the illegals in New York, now you're going to punch them in the face again with this congestion. So $27.31, Lincoln Tunnel. Now we're going to move to the Holland Tunnel. Same price. Holland Tunnel, this isn't a brainy tunnel. Holland Tunnel, this is an old tunnel, very, very congested tunnel. Not the easiest tunnel to maneuver, right? $27.31, okay? Again, you need a second job. Yeah, yeah, Amy, you're right. Yeah, I bet you're right. That probably pays for the illegals' debit cards. They probably have that Obama phone, right? Does everybody remember the Obama phones? Because Obama wanted to give illegals cell phones. Plus the welfare queens. The HUL Cary Tunnel, that's going to cost $20.19 to cross. Okay, which really is the battery tunnel, right? We're not gonna call it that, right? The battery tunnel. That's $20. That's $20.19. The Verrazano, wasn't just put in last week, right? $20.19 to cross it one time, right? That's completely ridiculous, right? I think if you're going, look, if you live, like I have family in Staten Island, I have family in Brooklyn, right? There should be no toll between those people, right? Just like I say, there should be no, they got to get rid of these tolls to begin with, right? I forget the guy who ran, but he ran, I thought it was Koch, who ran on more trolls, less tolls, right? Because he wanted to eliminate the tolls, but he failed at it. Too bad. It's like everything in government. Once you start it, you never get rid of it. Verrazano, $20.19. Now, here's a bridge I used to take a lot. The 59th Street Bridge, the Queensboro Bridge. Okay, that one's a little better. $13.50. Now, the Queensboro Bridge is way off. So, it's not as used as the Lincoln or Holland Tunnel. It's not like the Battery Tunnel or the Verrazano, but, a lot of people use it. I used to sneak, I remember the Queensboro Bridge when there was 0 tolls on it. I used to cross the Queensboro Bridge all the time because I could skip the Queens Midtown Tunnel, which had a toll. Back then, now check this out. I would drive 5-10 minutes out of my way to get the Queensboro Bridge because the Queens Midtown Tunnel had like a $2 or $3 toll. I didn't want to pay the $3 toll, $2 toll, so I used to go up to the 59th Street Bridge. Well, now they've got $13.50. Who uses the 59th Street Bridge? Mainly, lower income people use that bridge, right? These are people who are cleaning people. These are construction workers. These are not wealthy people who take the 59th Street Bridge, right? Because you got to go through the seedy part of town, right, to get there. Okay, the Queens Midtown Tunnel just got raised, $20.19, okay? You know how many people use that tunnel? Again, that wasn't put in last week. These are very old infrastructure, okay? Tons of traffic, tons of, pollution and everything else you got to deal with. Look, I'm old enough to remember that if you stopped in front of the Queens Midtown Tunnel in the 80s, when the traffic started going again, and you looked, your hubcaps were gone. Who remembers when they used to steal the hubcaps? Oh, is that right, Amy? They're going to start charging to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. I hope that that's not true. They probably will, though. I mean, these people, they're tyrants. They're disgusting. They hate our culture. They hate the working class, right? The Williamsburg Bridge. Now, there's a restaurant, Giando's, that is right on the water in Brooklyn. I used to go there a lot. That's a great place. I recommend Giando's. Look it up. Very nice place. You could see the Williamsburg Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge. It's like right there in Brooklyn. Beautiful. It's good to take a date out on. But the Williamsburg Bridge, $13.50. Now, this is a bridge that is kind of out of the way, right? It's not like the Queens Midtown Tunnel. It's not like the Lincoln Tunnel, right? It's not the Verrazano Bridge. These are the working class who use that bridge. The Manhattan Bridge, same thing. $13.50. Brooklyn Bridge, $13.50. It's completely ridiculous that they're punishing people when and they like to use the term peak times. Oh, we're just doing this during peak times. Yeah, that's when people go to work or come home, right? And so look, this is the starting point, people, right? So if you're in that area, someone has to pay for the illegals. That's right, Mike. And this is how they're going to do it. Let me see. Did I miss any? Okay. So, look, it's the working class. We all know that it's the working class that pays for the government of New York State. One of the reasons why I left New York and is because they just kept coming up with new ways to tax me, to regulate me, to, take food out of my mouth. Look, let me not get it wrong. New York is one of the most beautiful states in the country, okay? I like out East Long Island. I love the beaches. There are awesome people there, so it has nothing to do with that. It's the government. If we could just get rid of the government that is in New York, I would probably move back. I don't even care. The weather is fine to me. That doesn't even bother me. Snow doesn't bother me, right? But that's me. But I remember being young and thinking about all the opportunity that there was in New York, right? I remember looking out in Brooklyn, Jersey City, looking at the skyline and go, man, I want to work there one day. I want to go there one day. And like the amount of opportunity that has been destroyed. That's right, Amy. Wait. People work in the city from New Jersey, mostly Bergen County, surrounding areas. That's right, Amy. And so it's really Bergen County that's going to get the taxes. Yeah, you're 100% right. Those poor people, that's why I call it Nazi New York. Oh, jeez. I mean, it really is. It really is Nazi New York. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the food. The food is absolutely great there. But how long will that last for the food? If they keep pushing people like us out, it's the old school Italians, Jewish people, plus people are dying off, and they keep importing these illegals. I have to imagine that the culture is going to change, the food is going to change, the opportunity is going to change, right? Because, like Trump said, they don't bring in their best, right? They're not bringing in, people who idolize Western civilization, right? They're bringing in people who, could care less about the Constitution, could care less about our, Western values. And so, like everyone is saying, this is how they're going to pay for the illegals. Okay, so congestion pricing. And, you know, this also is going to have people lose their jobs. Businesses are going to close, right? This is also, there's another deeper thing with the congestion tax. They also don't want people to own cars. They want people to be renters. They don't want people to own their homes, okay? They want everybody to be renters, right? They want you to be a ward of the state, okay? So, again, Hannity's not going to talk about this. None of these people are going to talk about this. This is what these people want, okay? They want to destroy everything we grew up with that we knew was normal, right? We're cool. You know, they look at us like we're some odd people. You know, no, we're not odd. You're odd. You know, you're odd for allowing people to set people on fire or to let people in the country multiple times, right? Killing and maiming our people. No, you're the weird people, right? Not us, right? And lowering our standards and destroying businesses and just really, excuse my language, but pissing all over everything that our founders created, okay? No, they're the weird people. And here's the last story, and this is going to be everyone's favorite story. I hope, Amy, I hope that Trump could clean New York and Jersey and surrounding areas, corrupt Connecticut, Connecticut. But we'll see. You know, we have to see how all this plays out. But like I said, the best thing Amy Trump can do, get that Doge in order, get Elon out there, have him lobby Congress and put out every day the things in government we got to get rid of. That's right. Mike, you're 100% right. It's all about control. They hate your family. They hate that you own anything. And, you know, that's why Biden expanded the IRS. That's why he hired 58,000 more IRS agents to go after us, right? Meanwhile, this guy has, you know, several mansions by the water, okay? He was a civil servant his whole life. Where the hell did he get the money for this stuff? Why are there no IRS investigations on the Bidens, okay, and where they got their money from? I mean, look at Hunter. And again, I'm not a big Hunter guy, but here's a guy with no skill, okay? And somehow he gets on the boards of Burisma. He's, you know, making these massive deals and giving money to the big guy. You know, so the whole thing is really corrupt and disgusting. But going from one corrupt people, let's go to the next set. Because Hillary Clinton was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I mean, listen. I mean, if it's like we almost woke up in Bizarro Land, right? Hillary Clinton. Now here is an absolute warmonger. Here's a person who lobbied Europe to shut down political speech, to censor political speech that she didn't like, speech like yours and mine, okay? She fell asleep during Benghazi, right? Our boys were calling for help, and what did she do? Hangs up the phone, goes back to bed. She could care less, right? Remember, what difference does it make, right? Does everybody remember that, right? Again, she doesn't care. This is a woman that voted for the Iraq War, killing over a million people based on a lie, and this is the woman that gets the Medal of Freedom. You know, yeah, that's right, Mike. I forgot about that. You're Hunter Biden's paintings were selling for millions of dollars. If you looked at this stuff, like, I'm not an artist, right? I have artists in my family who are like really good artists. Like, and the poor guy is struggling, right, to make a living. Like, he's like living like a bum, begging people for money. He's a great artist. Here's a guy, Hunter. This guy couldn't paint. I mean, if his life depended on it, you got a gun to his head. He can't paint for shit. Getting millions of dollars for these things. I mean, come on. If this isn't laundering money, I don't know what is. Hillary is a wackadoodle. I agree with you there, Amy. But let's not forget what Hillary and Obama did. They invaded a sovereign country called Libya, okay? All because Muammar Gaddafi was threatening to go off the dollar standard. They wanted to start a gold standard. So what they did was they made up a lie, just like they made up a lie going into Iraq, and they killed the leader of Libya, Muammar Gaddafi, which brought back slavery. Slavery is alive and well in Libya because of Hillary Clinton and Obama. And again, Muammar Gaddafi, he was not, this guy did a lot of horrible things, but again, we are not the police of the world. And I'm glad that Trump won. I'm glad that Trump has really convinced a lot of Republicans to come more to the libertarian side on this and to say, look, we're not going to police you. We're not going to just invade your country because we don't like you, right? Because this is what happens, right? We end up destabilizing entire countries, okay? And then what happens? Those people, there are Libyans that crossed our southern border right now. You think they're happy with us? So did Biden. He voted for the war. Yes, that's right, Amy. You know what? That, again, the one thing that is really sad in this country is that we don't have real debates anymore, right? Substantive debates. Because I wish that could have been brought up back in 2020, when Biden challenged Trump. And if you remember, when that debate happened, there was election interference with the moderators attacking Trump with Biden. It was like, what was it, 3-1, right? But Biden also voted for those wars. Biden also called black people animals. He used you can look this up. He used the N-word on the Senate floor. This guy. And he's calling Trump a racist. Can anyone, listen, call Trump whatever you want. Can anyone ever find where Trump ever used the N-word? Just once? I can't. Trump has been on film more than anybody that I know. You can't find one. But you can find Biden. Go look it up. Look up Biden uses the N-word in the Senate. It'll come up. But again, now Hillary Clinton gets the Presidential Medal of Freedom after all that. But here's another thing that she did that I don't know if people remember. But Haiti had a really bad earthquake. Now, if you know Haiti, it is literally like in the top 3 of the poorest countries on the planet, okay? These are people who have nothing, okay? What do the Clintons do? Hillary goes down there with the Clinton Global Initiative, and they use that ridiculous Ponzi of a charity to steal from the Haitian people. So what they were doing was they were getting contracts from the U.S. government to help Haiti, and they were pocketing the money. This is Hillary Clinton. This is the person. Biden and Hillary and David Duke in the LAO. Yes! Oh, yeah. Mike, you remember David Duke? Oh my God, that just brought back a lot of memories. David Duke. It was David Duke, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. There's that other one too. But anyway, there were like a bunch of these guys out there. They were like all, racist and race pimps and. But yeah, you're right, Mike. They're all the same, right? They're the same cloth. And if we remember, Joe Biden actually spoke at the eulogy for a Klansman. He was a Grand Wizard. Anybody can look that up too, and I forget the guy. Byrd. Senator Byrd, who was a Klansman. He called him a fine gentleman. He's a great guy. This guy was a total racist. Total disgusting pig. And that's who Biden... This is why, Mike, Amy, Julie, everybody, this is why we need debates in this country. We need... First off, these debates don't belong in CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, right? They belong on formats like this, right? Where people can talk, you let them go at it, right? You don't interfere with them, right? I want an audience, right? I want people to ask real questions, okay? Instead of these, now when you have a debate, everybody gets to look at the questions, and then it's like, it's always teaming up, if especially against, if it's the conservative, it's always against the conservative. So I hope that in the future, I really hope that I have Haitian nurses work for me, terrible nurses, but they always laughing and very sneaky. Yeah, I mean, look, Amy, this is you're okay. The reason, it's just like when you get somebody from not just Haiti, but there's like Kenya, those places in Africa. See, they live in a very corrupt society, right? And they, deep down, like that way of living, right? So they don't assimilate to American Western values. So those Haitian nurses, I bet you they treat their patients like garbage, because that's how they were raised. They're anti-human. They again, they're just taking the job. They're not in it probably for the right reasons. But again, it's like Hillary, basically stole this money from this poor country, and so it's just disgusting that she gets the Medal of Freedom, which is completely ridiculous. Jamaican nurses, better and excellent. In Jamaica, they have songs about scamming people. They go into the industry. It was a documentary I saw. Yeah, both of you are right. So, again, Jamaica has a completely different culture, right? I've been to Jamaica several times. Look, they have poverty down there. They've run amok of their government, but they're very cautious with their government, okay? They hold their government accountable, okay? Now, they have corruption there, right? There's no doubt about it. But the people there, they want freedom like everyone else. And they tend to be nicer people in Jamaica. I like them a lot. So look, I think that's going to wrap it up for this one tonight. I definitely hope that we've learned something. And if not, we've got to think and share some perspectives. Open dialogue and free speech. Again, please subscribe, share, comment. Really thank you for watching. Please pass this around. Tell your friends. Tell people like, hey, check this guy out. He's a little different. I'm not going to just blow smoke. I'm going to tell it like it is. And I love you guys. And I hope everyone has a great night. Take care. God bless. I'll see you on the next one.